A call to the Wood County Sheriff's Department revealed that Otto Drabel had not returned home, but that his wife expected him back later that day, or for sure by Monday morning in time for the funeral. Yes, she had heard from him earlier yesterday. He told her he was coming back. The police questioned people who had visited Emma the day before and confirmed that he had told her these details, or at least as far as they knew. They wanted to know why the police were interested in Junior. Was he the next possible victim? On a Sunday afternoon, gossip spreads quickly, even in a big county city of nearly 3,000 people. Then someone started a really big rumor. It began over at the diner during the Sunday chicken special and spread from there. Junior was missing, and the police suspected that he might even be dead. Same guy that killed Sam. That sort of thing. The rumor spread like wildfire. Junior's car had been spotted in the parking lot and hadn't moved for 3 days. So far, no one had noticed that the big Chrysler was gone. It wasn't checked out to anyone. By Sunday night, Emma had more visitors than ever, curious and concerned neighbors who congregated by the dozens, spilling out of the kitchen and living room onto the porch. It was like the 4th of July, and lacking only the fireworks. Even the police showed up in the persons of officers Richards and Post, but they saw the crowd and decided it wasn't the best time to conduct an interrogation. Fortunately, no one took note of the Camaro and added to the substantial rumor mill that was humming along. By 10 o'clock that evening, there was no sign of Junior, and the visitors returned to their homes to get ready for the funeral. All eyes would be on Emma and her family, not the mortal remains of Sam Barker. As it turned out, it was one of the best attended funerals in the history of the town. Okay, there's a break. Junior arose a little after 10 in the morning, still tired but considerably more refreshed after 5 hours of sleep. Over instantaneous coffee, Folger's, not Maxwell House, he remembered to put another item on his list: subscribe to the local paper. Of course, he knew that having papers accumulate on his front porch would inherently be a sign that he was out of town, so he resolved to have a special box made for the paper boy to drop the daily editions of the Argus Leader, biggest paper in all of South Dakota. He tipped the paper boy, who was actually a paper girl, an extra couple dollars to get off her bicycle and walk to the porch and deposit the paper. "I'm frequently away on business," he explained, "and I don't want to advertise my absence to strangers." She understood completely, and an extra $2 was as much as she earned in a week delivering 10 papers. Well worth the walk, which is really a ride on her bike up to the box on the sidewalk leading to the front door. This takes place in 1970, by the way. Most of the items on his list were easy to accomplish. The new license plates with updated stickers were in the garage, bottom shelf of the rolling tool cart. Easily swapped out for the other plates, which you realize have to be cut up, burned to help the pieces rust faster, and scattered in the Big Sioux River. He would make a fire in the fireplace that evening and toast the licenses. He visited the bank, made his deposit, and chatted up the teller, a pretty woman who looked to be barely 20 years old, but who sported a showy ring on her left hand. "Who's the lucky guy?" he asked, pointing to the diamond. "My fiancé. His name's Logan. He was stationed in Japan. He bought the ring there." "It's a beauty. Best of luck to the two of you. Thank you." This is too easy, Junior thought to himself. Won't take long at all before David Olson is considered a native. But he cautioned himself, better not get too familiar with the locals, just in case the cops put out a wanted poster. There was always someone at the post office studying the latest lineup, and just his luck, one of the busybodies might recognize his mug. He called the domestic service, canceling the monthly routine while praising the good job they did, and mentioning that he wouldn't hesitate to call on them again should the occasion arise. This, he mused, was at least one time that he wasn't actually lying. That left two major things on his list to do that day. He needed to get rid of anything that might lead to the authorities back to Junior Drabel, and he had to hide the stuff he refused to part with. The fireplace will be hungry tonight, he thought to himself as he gathered anything that needed to be burned. As for the stuff that needed to be hidden, there hung in the hallway leading to his bedroom one of the worst pictures ever painted. He picked it up at a high school craft fair a few years earlier. It was a genuine Ernest Pembone. It said so right, a bold signature across the bottom of the masterpiece. The cost is $25, a bargain at a third of the price if there ever was one. But Mr. Pembone, 18 years old and obviously very proud of his work, explained to Junior personally what went into the painting. It was a country scene, laid out on a 25 by 20 inch canvas with a wooden frame made of 2-inch ceiling molding. The country scene featured a farmhouse, some moo cows, barn, birds flying overhead, and of course a fence winding through the field to tie it all together. You could almost see the erased lines he had drawn for his one and only vanishing point. Also, for some reason, on a little hill some distance from the barn, a wolf silhouetted against the sky was baying. Again, for some other reason. Said the young Ernie Pembone, "I've always wanted to paint a scene like this really badly." Needless to say, he succeeded beyond his wildest expectations. Junior snapped up the painting, if for no other reason that he could see the rest of the Pembone collection weren't going to be hot sellers, except maybe if he had enough relatives among the clientele. He didn't realize it at the time, but the picture was perfect as a doorway to a wall safe in his secret home. So it was that a genuine hand-painted bucolic landscape, complete with bay and wolf, dominated the wall of Junior's new permanent dwelling, and he stood before it now, admiring its stark blandness, a blot of color on the white-painted wall. He reached up and triggered the latch on the right-hand side of the frame, and with his left hand triggered the latch on the bottom. The picture swung over easily to reveal a small safe. There's an old saying among double-aught spies, and that is that if you want to conceal something, hide it where it can't be seen. There, behind the picture, was a typical safe with a simple combination lock, the kind you can buy wherever fine wall safes are sold. But what was not so obvious was one of the panels that framed the safe. The safe was inset about 4 inches from the surface of the wall. The left panel was held in place with magnets, and by inserting a couple bent paper clips into tiny holes on either side and hooking the panel at the back, the panel could be easily removed to reveal another hiding hole. The thing about hiding things, as Junior well knows, is that once someone discovered the safe behind the painting, they would concentrate on opening the safe and not on looking for another safe. There's no question that Junior would have made a fine cabinet maker, so well was made was his workmanship. He bent a couple paper clips, inserted them into the side panel, and gave it a sharp tug. The panel popped off easily and exposed a small space about 4 inches wide, 6 deep, and 8 inches in height. Inside was a small box that had souvenirs, not quite as important as those he had to leave behind at his old cabin. There were also a couple more envelopes stuffed with cash. The regular safe also had money stashed away, some $20,000 in traveler's checks that he renewed on a regular basis. When he and Emma would take a vacation trip, he would use the old checks and buy new ones to keep in the safe. He took out his wallet, removed Sam Barker's driver's license, and placed it on top of the souvenir box. Later on, he planned to take out the box and reminisce, but that would have to wait. He closed everything back up and latched the picture back into place. Then he went into the living room and started a nice blaze in the fireplace. With tin snips, he cut up the license plates and fed them through the flames. When thin steel is heated, its crystalline structure is altered and it will rust quickly. In the morning, he would fish the pieces out and scatter them in a river, some around Sioux Falls and some in Minnesota, where he planned to drive to the small city of Morris, about 180 miles away. In the public library, he would find a Mosinee paper, courtesy of the paper exchange program. He was dying to know what was going on back home. The funeral had been earlier that day, and with him a no-show, the cops were likely looking for him in earnest. Or maybe not. Maybe they thought he was another victim. Wouldn't that be a hoot? He laughed at the thought, took a long hot shower, and went to bed. And I must stop right there.